Tonight, help from above. The U.S. military airdrops aid to hundreds of thousands of Haitians in desperate need of food, water, and medicine. And the UN asks for more peacekeepers as looting spreads and thousands flee Port-au-Prince. I'm Katie Couric. Also tonight, a violent new challenge to the Afghan government. The Taliban attack with suicide bombings and gunfire in the center of Kabul on the day President Karzai is swearing in a new cabinet. And a hot Senate race in the cold of winter could determine the future of health care reform.
From CBS News World Headquarters in New York, this is the CBS Evening News with Katie Couric.
Good evening, everyone. 6 days after the earthquake in Haiti, getting help to the hundreds of thousands in need still seems to be happening in slow motion, with roads blocked and gridlock at the airport. Today, a U.S. Air Force C-17 dropped in 14,000 MREs, meals ready to eat, and 14,000 quarts of water. Relief workers on the ground were to distribute the aid, but in some cases, others got there first. Meanwhile, looters are roaming the streets, and the UN is asking the Security Council for 3,500 more peacekeepers to restore order. With 5,000 U.S. troops already in the area, the U.S. sent 2,200 more Marines today with heavy equipment to clear debris. They joined nearly 1,000 members of the 82nd Airborne. And there are still miracles happening there. Today, a woman rescued after nearly a week under the rubble.
2 minutes, we're okay. I'll let you know when we got to get him out.
Harry Smith is in Port-au-Prince tonight. Harry, people in Haiti are dealing with this desperate situation in a variety of ways.
You got that right, Katie. How would you respond if your very ability to survive was tested to its limits? The people in Port-au-Prince are responding in a number of different ways, and the fact is not all of them are good. Downtown, it was a looter's paradise. Sometimes they squabbled over their treasure. And once, we even saw the police make an arrest. But mostly, folks were left alone to harvest the free stuff. Everybody is carrying some piece of stolen merchandise. There is a sense of great unease here, to say the least. It almost feels like a tinderbox that's getting ready to blow. One enterprising store owner hired 3 armored vehicles, complete with shotgun-toting guards, to oversee the transfer, not of gold or cash or flat-screen TVs, but bolts of fabric. Police finally lit off a smoke grenade, and the crowd cleared, but not for long. Soon, it was business as usual. Not even a dead body in the rubble could slow them down. Across town, drivers and would-be passengers haggled over prices. The deprivation and destruction are more than many people can stand, so thousands are heading to the countryside. This is basically a glorified dump truck. All of these people are going to a place called Okai. They paid about $10 a piece U.S. in order to get a seat on this bus to get them the hell out of Port-au-Prince. If the roads are not barricaded or ruined by the earthquake, the journey will take 5 hours. Necessity, though, is the mother of improvisation. This shanty town, built with debris from ruined buildings, sprouted up in just days. It's a step up from sleeping in the street. This is the Pierre family. It's the father, it's the mother. There's 2 of the children, but there are 6 more who are outside. They live in a space that's at about maybe 12 by 8 feet. They've recovered their worldly possessions, and they do have some food. They have some root vegetables here, a little bit of meat, but life here is hard. This is what it means to survive an earthquake. What everyone wants to know is what happens next. The people in that shanty town come from one of the worst slums in the city. It's been completely leveled. And the fact is, they are figuring out a way to get by. And that is really true for the vast majority of the people here in Port-au-Prince. Katie?
Harry Smith. Harry, thanks so much for that report tonight. Now, the anger and frustration boiled over today at the airport in Port-au-Prince. Desperate Haitians clashed with UN peacekeepers there. Our Byron Pitts was right in the middle of it.
With word spreading far and wide across Port-au-Prince today, there are jobs and food at the airport. A flood of able-bodied men and women showed up by the hundreds.
We are not troublemakers. We need some job, you understand?
A U.S. Army captain called this controlled chaos. Forces from different countries, people who speak different languages trying to maintain order. Late this morning, that chaos turned to confrontation.
UN peacekeepers were given orders to clear the street. And they did so with force. Jordanian, Pakistani, and Indian forces mostly. Unable to speak the native language Creole or even English, they did their talking with nightsticks and rubber bullets. No one was seriously injured, but tension is building.
Just tell me what you guys are trying to accomplish. Can you just answer that one question, what you're trying to accomplish?
Nothing.
Nothing? You're pushing people around.
Help me get everybody back first.
The American soldiers on hand, members of the 82nd Airborne, showed restraint. Helmets off, guns intentionally unloaded.
It seems like you guys are showing great restraint where some of your colleagues are being a bit more aggressive.
Well, we all have our different methods and styles in which we control situations. We're here to help them. We're not here to push them around.
The U.S. military will have a stronger presence on the ground at Port-au-Prince by tomorrow. Katie?
Byron Pitts, thank you, Byron. According to one estimate, as many as 250,000 people were injured in this earthquake. Former President Bill Clinton, the UN Special Envoy for Haiti, visited a hospital in Port-au-Prince today and vowed to send in more medical supplies. CBS News medical correspondent Dr. Jennifer Ashton has been treating victims at a clinic. She's seen the shortages firsthand.
This is the makeshift clinic where we've been working for the past 3 days. A steady stream of sicker and sicker patients continues to arrive, and there is a growing sense of desperation.
I am sitting on top of an amputated arm and an amputated leg because I have nowhere to take them.
The update for some of the patients that we've cared for over the past 3 days varies widely. Some have died, and others are on the edge. This is a 6-month-old baby girl who sustained bad burns to 50% of her body, and you can see her back. I know, baby, I know, cutie. These are severe burns, and you know she's at real risk for dehydration and infection, and you can see now she will be up 1 second and then kind of unresponsive and a little listless the next. She can barely hold her head up. Her eyes are really not open. This is a baby that if we were in the United States would be in an intensive care unit. So we're here with Lovely. 2 days ago, she was found under rubble 3 days into the earthquake. She actually had a corpse on top of her, and a Miami search and rescue team actually went in, had to amputate her arm in the field. When she was brought in here, we operated on her and resuscitated her on a folding card table outside under a tree. Now, she's alive, but infection is setting in. We're actually going to take her back to the operating room today to clean out the wound, and hopefully she'll do okay. Better news today for a 2-month-old baby girl who was trapped beneath rubble for 4 days. We spent over an hour resuscitating her before she was airlifted to Miami's Jackson Memorial Hospital, where today she's in critical but stable condition. And perhaps the biggest issue facing these patients today is serious infection caused by crush injuries, which then lead to gangrene, which then require amputations, Katie.
And Jennifer, one expert today told me that something like 20,000 people who aren't getting medical care may die every single day. What about the shortage of doctors and medical supplies? Is that improving at all?
In some places, Katie, it is improving. The Israelis have set up a large, very sophisticated field hospital. The clinic that we're working at are seeing a big influx of doctors, but a lot of doctors going home as well. And the system is not yet fully organized across Port-au-Prince and across Haiti yet. So it's still very problematic, and a lot of patients are dying even in our facility.
All right. Dr. Jennifer Ashton, thanks so much. What's most striking about this disaster is all the young victims. Some who already had no parents lost the only home they had. Seth Doan visited an orphanage on the capital's east side.
Imagine being orphaned for a second time. These children who'd lost their parents before the earthquake have now lost the home that took them in. 78 kids survived the quake at this orphanage. More than 50 others did not.
It collapsed.
Then I said, my God,
Where are the kids?
Madame Evelyn Louise Jacques runs this orphanage, which can no longer provide even a roof.
If everybody said, I'm not going to take care of them, who's going to take care of them?
So far, she's doing it without any aid. There were nearly 500,000 Haitians orphaned or abandoned before the earthquake. Who knows how many more there are now?
Do you expect more because of the earthquake?
I think so, because so many parents are dead.
Can you take them in? Can you help them?
If I could, I would.
And it's clear that at least right now, she cannot. Groups like UNICEF are scrambling to try to find out exactly how many children lost their parents in this tragedy. Katie, the number is sure to be staggering.
Seth Doan, thanks very much to you. Now, last Friday, Defense Secretary Robert Gates all but ruled out airdrops of food and water. But with the situation on the ground so dire, the military has done an about-face. David Martin has more on why getting supplies to the people who need them is proving to be so challenging.
This afternoon, the 82nd Airborne did what until now had been considered too dangerous: parachute relief supplies into Haiti.
We just received confirmation that there were 38 different bundles of humanitarian aid that were just dropped over Haiti using that system out of a C-17 airplane that took off from here at Pope Air Force Base near Fort Bragg, North Carolina.
Lieutenant General Frank Helmick was talking with CBS News from the tarmac when the first drop was made.
Just that drop alone provided around 14,000 meals and about 4,000 gallons of water to relieve some of the suffering there for the Haitian people.
The risk to people on the ground, they could run under the falling pallets and be crushed, has now been overridden by their need. 16 ships and 48 helicopters are offshore, flying in water and taking out the injured. But the help the U.S. promised has not arrived as quickly as planned. The Pentagon said it would have 10,000 men and women either ashore or afloat by today. The actual number is less than 7,000. Delays at the airport have put the 82nd Airborne 2 days behind schedule. A U.S. officer said Haitian air traffic controllers were simply unable to handle all the incoming flights. According to this officer, a Chinese plane hogged the runway for several hours while staging a photo op. A Russian plane lied about being low on fuel in order to get clearance to land. The U.S. Air Force is now running the airport, giving each plane a 2-hour window to get in, unloaded, and out. But this evening, an airplane carrying the medicines and refrigerating equipment for a portable hospital was still waiting for clearance to land.
With snafus like that, the 82nd Airborne plans to keep parachuting supplies for another 3 or 4 more days. Katie?
David Martin reporting from the Pentagon tonight. We'll talk to our team in Haiti later in this broadcast, but up next here on the CBS Evening News, a special election tomorrow for a U.S. Senate seat. The Democrats' supermajority and the future of health care reform on the line. As President Obama completes his first year in office, 50% of Americans polled by CBS News approve of the job he's doing. Of modern presidents, only Ronald Reagan had a lower rating on his first anniversary. The all-time high, George W. Bush at 82%. On another matter, 80% of Americans approve of the way President Obama is handling the crisis in Haiti, and 84% say the U.S. has a responsibility to help. On health care reform, 41% of Americans believe it would improve the system, but 49% say it would make it worse or have no impact. And whether health care reform passes may well depend on the outcome of a special election in Massachusetts tomorrow. Nancy Cordes is covering that story. And Nancy, the Democrat was supposed to be a shoo-in. What happened?
Well, for starters, Katie, as you just mentioned, support for health care reform in this country is sinking, and that gives Republican candidates an opening, even here in liberal-leaning Massachusetts.
Harvard, nice to meet you.
Republican Scott Brown may be campaigning in Boston, but he's well aware it's Washington he's turning upside down.
You've really got the entire Democratic establishment freaking out right now.
Well, it's all about really bringing, I think, fairness and conversation back to the equation. And if that's what it means with me being involved, then that's good.
If he wins, Democrats lose more than just 1 seat. They lose their 60-seat supermajority in the Senate, which allows them to pass legislation without Republican votes. With his entire legislative agenda hanging in the balance, President Obama swooped in to try to rescue the Democrat, Martha Coakley.
Understand what's at stake here, Massachusetts.
Just a month ago, Coakley was up by double digits, while Brown was practically an afterthought. He stormed the state, she laid low, angering would-be supporters.
Martha Coakley apparently has had a bad dose of Massachusetts Democrats' disease, the complacency, even the laziness that comes from being virtually unchallenged.
I want to be the person to go down there and send the health care back to its drawing board.
Brown's crusade against the health care reform bill has gained traction in Massachusetts, where universal health care has yet to produce the promised cost savings.
You have to give me statistics and facts that would indicate that this is a necessary evil to foster an American public in large at this time, and I don't see it.
Now, Democratic lawmakers are frantically looking for ways to pass a compromise health care bill quickly before a Brown victory could give the GOP the one vote it needs to kill the bill altogether. Katie?
Nancy Cordes, thanks very much. And when we come back, chaos in Kabul. A deadly battle in Kabul today. Taliban militants tried to storm government buildings. Mandy Clark tells us some got within 50 yards of the presidential palace before Afghan soldiers killed them.
Kabul under siege. Militants armed with rocket-propelled grenades and suicide vests fought with Afghan forces for 5 hours in the heart of the capital. It was a coordinated Taliban attack on the government, timed to the swearing in of new cabinet members and raising concerns about just how secure Kabul really is. In one assault, a bomber detonated himself near the capital's central bank as 3 other insurgents fought with security forces nearby. One bomber avoided detection by disguising himself as an ambulance driver.
It's not surprising that the Taliban do this sort of thing. They're desperate people, they're ruthless.
President Karzai says security forces are now in control of the city, although there are reports that attackers are hiding in the capital, ready to strike. Search operations to find them will continue through the night. Mandy Clark, CBS News, Kabul.
And up next, more from our team in Haiti. We want to check in again with some of our team in Haiti, Seth Doan, Kelly Kobayea, and Byron Pitts. Kelly, I know that much of this damage extends well beyond Port-au-Prince into many surrounding towns, and you have visited a couple of those towns. What has it been like there?
Well, we've visited a town about 15 miles south of Port-au-Prince called Léogange. It's heavily damaged, about 85% destroyed, and they're in dire need of medical assistance. We understand that some doctors and nurses were able to get there today to help with some of the injured. We also went further by helicopter. It's the only way you can get to this town on the coast called Jacmel. It is also heavily damaged. They have some 5,000 injured. The hospital is damaged. They're short on medical supplies. And when we arrived, one man pulled me aside and started pointing to the patient, saying, this person has an infection. That person is not well. That person is not well. We need help.
Meanwhile, Seth Doan, I know that in your piece about orphans, which was heartbreaking, it was surprising that there were so many prior to this earthquake. Why is that?
Well, nearly all of the kids who were at the orphanage that we were at today were economic orphans. Their parents gave them up because they simply couldn't afford to care for them and thought they'd have a better life with this woman who's running the orphanage. So it's just heartbreaking to imagine that. But now you add to those economic orphans an entirely new wave of earthquake orphans. It is really sad to imagine. This woman says, though, that she believes her work is more important now than it ever was before, not for the future of the kids, but also for the future of the country.
And there might be an outpouring of people who, in fact, want to adopt children from Haiti now that they've witnessed all of this on television. Byron Pitts, what is the looting situation like? Byron, I hear that they're actually looting stores for toothpaste. That's a popular commodity because people are putting it under their noses because of the stench of dead bodies that's still in the air.
Well, Katie, tension is certainly increasing all across Haiti, in particular in Port-au-Prince. I want to show you something. This is the metal casing for one of those rubber bullets the UN troops were firing into crowds to disperse them. No one was killed by one of these today, but they certainly leave an impression. We have heard reports of widespread looting across Port-au-Prince in particular. Also, we've even heard reports of people pulling food and water and supplies off trucks as they move down the street to take them to a location to distribute to people. This is something that the UN and the U.S. Clearly expected to occur. That's one big reason why they're sending more troops, more UN police officers into Port-au-Prince so they can help to maintain order.
And I heard in some cases, Byron, Haitian civilians are attacking other civilians when they start to loot. They're seeking revenge and taking matters into their own hands. Well, Byron Pitts, Kelly Kobiea, Seth Doan, thank you all so much. And stay safe.
All right.
Harry Smith will have the very latest tomorrow on The Early Show and, of course, tomorrow night here on the CBS Evening News. And I'll have more on the relief efforts and what's needed to rebuild Haiti on my web show immediately following this broadcast. Go to cbsnews.com and click on @Katie Couric. That is the CBS Evening News on this day when America honors Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. Thank you for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.